Hello, good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Gulsen Oztoprak. I'm an EducationUSA advisor at the Cyprus Fulbright Commission, and today I'll be talking to you about choosing a college or university that's right for you. Let me tell you that this presentation is geared towards undergraduate studies in the US. Okay, and I would like to go through my presentation first before taking questions, just so I can explain the whole process to you before you start asking questions about that. If there's anything that's related to my presentation, I'll try to answer it at that point, but there will be plenty of time afterwards to answer questions and ask questions, of course. Okay, during my presentation, you're going to hear me say Education USA quite a bit, and before I go on with my presentation, let me clarify exactly what that is. Education USA is a network of over 400 advising centers around the world that are supported by the US State Department to give free, unbiased, accurate information about studying in the US. We are the best resource for finding information on or getting information on studies in the US. If you go to our website, there you can see it. This is what you will see. We have lots of information on here about studying in the US. Today, I'm going to be talking specifically about choosing the college or university that's right for you, but there's a lot of information on the website that you can look at afterwards. If you go to our website, which you can see here, and click on the For International Students, let me see if I can do this. There you go. If you click on the For International Students tab and then Undergraduate Study, you'll come across the 5 steps to studying in the United States. The first step is researching your options, 2, completing your application, 3, financing your studies, 4, applying for your student visa, and 5, preparing for your departure. Today's presentation will focus only on step 1, which is researching your options and, of course, choosing the school that's right for you. Okay. Okay, this is what I'm going to go over in my presentation. I'll be talking about who exactly is an undergraduate student, defining your priorities, researching and narrowing down your choices, identifying types and sources of financial aid, making a short list of your top choices, and a little tiny bit about preparing for standardized tests. I know that Syed, I don't know if you were at the presentation before mine, but Syed talked to you about taking admissions tests for US institutions, and if you happen to miss that, it's okay. You can go back and watch that after this presentation. Okay, so let's start with who an undergraduate student is. Okay, an undergraduate student is anyone who is studying towards an associate degree, a 2-year associate degree, or a 4-year bachelor's degree. Okay. An associate degree is the name of the degree that you would get if you chose to study at a 2-year college, which is also called a community college or a junior college. There are 2 kinds of programs that you can follow at these kinds of community colleges. You can follow the terminal program. If you decided to take the terminal route, you would study at these 2-year community colleges, receive your degree, and then enter the workforce. So as the name implies, it would be a terminal degree. The transfer program is for students whose ultimate goal is to get a bachelor's degree. So if you were to enter the transfer program, you would study 2 years at a community college, finish your degree, get your associate degree, and then transfer to a 4-year college or university, and then complete your 3rd and 4th years there, and in the end, get your bachelor's degree. So it would be a 2+2 program. Okay, this is a great option for many students, and many American and international students are choosing to do this for many reasons. There are many advantages to starting your education at a community college, and one of them is, of course, the cost. The cost is much lower at community colleges. The bachelor's degree is the name of the degree that you would get at the end of your 4 years at a university or college. Bachelor's degrees in the United States are typically 4 years, but depending on the program can vary. Some are 5 or even longer, and I'm not going to get into that. But typically, a bachelor's degree in the US is 4 years. Now, before I go on to the rest of my presentation, let me tell you a little bit about one of the greatest advantages of studying in the United States, the liberal arts philosophy, which US higher education is based on. When you are studying at a university in the United States, they want you to graduate as a well-rounded student. So if you're studying something like biology, say, for example, your major or field of study is biology, they don't want you to just study biology the entire 4 years. In the first 2 years of your education at any US university or college, you have to take courses in a variety of subjects. You have to take, of course, these are in addition to the courses that you're taking for your field of study. You have to take courses in the arts, humanities, languages, social sciences, and physical sciences. So again, I keep talking about biology, but that's the one that's in my mind right now. If you're studying, say, for example, your major is biology. With your biology courses, you will be taking, for example, maybe a literature course or a foreign language. And the great thing about this is that in those first 2 years, you will have the opportunity to take courses that perhaps you've never been able to take. And during those first 2 years, while you're experimenting with these courses, you may find another passion, another subject that you're very interested in studying. Before you leave your country, you may think you want to be a biologist or an engineer. But once you get to the US and you start taking these courses, you may realize that you really don't like engineering, but you love literature. And you can make that change easily because the system of education is flexible. You can change your major or field of study easily. You can even add another major. If you are studying engineering, but you've also realized that you love mathematics, you can add that as well and have a double major. So this is one of the greatest advantages of studying in the US. You don't have this flexibility in other countries, and I just wanted to let you know that. So you can make these changes with your major while you're studying. Okay. So we know what an undergraduate student is, and before I move on, at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's another presentation that will be live on explaining the U.S. higher education system by another EducationUSA advisor. And if you want to know more about the education system and the different kinds of degree programs, I recommend you watch that. And even if you don't watch it live, you can watch it afterwards. Okay. So the first point that I'm going to talk about, and is probably the most important thing that you need to think about before you start selecting schools to apply to, is what are your priorities? What is important to you? Okay. In many cultures, including Cypriot culture, sometimes you're not really allowed to make the decisions, and your mother and father might be really involved. But in this case, what's important is that you choose the right college for you. Okay? It's not the right college for your mother, it's not the right college for your father, your brother, or in some cases your cousin's cousin. You can listen to their advice, and you can talk to them, of course. You have to consider what other people are saying. But the best college for you is the one that meets your requirements academically, socially, and personally. Okay, so it's really your decision to make. And before I move on, let me also tell you that there are no official rankings in the United States. I know you've probably come across some kind of ranking list on the internet somewhere. But none of them are official. So you should know that when you're choosing your colleges. In Cyprus, especially, I know students love looking at ranking lists, and some of the times they actually choose their schools based on that, but that's not the way to go. You really need to think about what's important to you. And before I move on, let me tell you about a resource that's available on the EducationUSA website. Sorry for the glitches, but I'm trying to get used to being online. Okay, right here, there is a worksheet that can help you think about what's important to you. And I'll go over briefly about the things that you need to think about and which are also on this worksheet. Okay, you really need to think about your short-term goals. What do you want to study? What do you want to study? What degree do you want to get? Do you want to get an associate degree? Do you want to get a bachelor's degree? What exactly are you looking for? These kinds of things will help you choose the right college for you. Okay? Not only do you have to think about your short-term goals, you have to also think about your long-term goals. What is your ultimate goal? What do you want to do after you graduate? What kind of job do you want to find? Are there certain skills that you need to learn in university for the job that you hope to get in the future? Okay, so think about your long-term goals as well. Your past experience. Have you taken any college-level courses? Will they, or any other relevant courses, will they affect your choices, your university choices as well? One of the most important things you need to think about and maybe talk about with your family is how will you pay for your education? We always recommend to our students that they begin talking to their parents about these things early on. You need to sit down and speak to them and ask them how much will they be able to contribute towards your education. If you have worked, how much money do you have? How much money can you set aside? Because that will also help you narrow down the schools that you choose when the time comes. You also need to think about financial aid. Are you looking for financial aid? If you are, the way you search for schools and choose the ones that are right for you will be different. Okay? So think about these things. Think about which type of institution best suits you. Again, at the beginning of the presentation, I talked to you about associate degrees, 2-year community colleges, 4-year institutions. I mean, what are you exactly thinking about doing, or which would suit you best? Remember, a lot of students forget to think about the little details, but you will be at the college or university you choose for 2 to 4 years. So 2 to 4 years of your life will be spent there. So you should be happy, or you should be, you should be comfortable where you are. And of course, happy. And nobody can tell you what's going to make you happy. You need to really think about what those things are. A small 2-year community college or a bigger college. Selectivity. That's another factor that you need to consider. How competitive are you? I mean, are you looking for the more selective programs that only accept, for example, 10% of their students? And before I continue on, let me just emphasize that just because a university is more selective than another, it doesn't mean the quality of education that they provide will be better. Okay? Selectivity does not equal quality, nor does price equal quality. A lot of my students think, oh my gosh, this university is more expensive, so they must be better. But no, that's not true. There are wonderful, universities and colleges at different price ranges, at different selectivity, levels. So, don't automatically think that just because it's hard to get into a university that it's going to be the best one for you, or the best one at all. Okay, so so another thing you need to think about when you're choosing your schools is selectivity. How are you going to apply to are you competitive enough to apply to the highly selective universities? Even if you are, we recommend that you apply to a range of schools. You shouldn't just apply to the really, the top. No, not top. I take that back because they're not top. Not the highly selective universities. Apply to a range because there are wonderful universities at all selectivity levels. Okay, so you need to think about that. You need to think about size. Are you interested in going to a university that has 50,000 students, or 20,000 students, 10,000 students, 1,000 students? You know, they are different. They're different environments. What do you think will make you happy? You need to think about these details. Something that goes together with selectivity is high school performance. And I already talked about, do you think you're selective? Do you think you're competitive enough for the highly selective schools? So anyway, I won't get into that anymore. So these are the details that you really need to start thinking about now. And again, let me mention the worksheet that's on the EducationUSA website that you can use to write down what is important to you. Okay. Another important thing when you're choosing colleges and universities is accreditation. You have to make sure that the university is accredited, the university and college. There are two kinds of accreditations, and I'm not really going to get into that in too much detail, but you should know that there's regional accreditation, which accredits the university as a whole, and there's programmatic or professional accreditation that looks at individual programs. And this is something you can discuss with your EducationUSA advisor later on. But accreditation is extremely important when you're thinking about schools to apply to. Okay. There's a question here from Anshul. Thank you, Anshul. How easy or difficult is it for a student with bachelor's in electronics and he wants to pursue his MS in computer science? Okay, again, this presentation mainly has to do with undergraduate studies, but it's not difficult. What did you say? Let me see. Your bachelor's degree is in electronics and then in MS in computer science. They may require that you have a certain background in computer science before you start your master's degree. You may be, if you get accepted into the master's program, you may be asked to, if you don't have that background, they may ask you to take a few undergraduate courses before you start the master's level courses. But it is possible. It is possible. Okay. Okay, so again, the focus of this presentation is undergraduate studies and how to choose the right college for you. Okay, so I've talked about the things that are important, and now I will move on. Again, it's your decision, okay? It's the best college for you is the one that fulfills your needs, okay? Not anybody else's. Okay, so how do you research and narrow down your choices? There are over 4,900 institutions offering undergraduate programs in the US, so a lot to choose from. And your question is probably, how do we narrow it down? How do we find the right college for ourselves with all of those available? Okay, the first one that the way that you can narrow down your choices is is to use search engines. Okay, there are plenty of search engines that can help you narrow down your list. If you want to study mathematics, you can go to these search engines and find all the colleges and universities that are offering bachelor's degrees in mathematics in the state of California, for example. So you can narrow down your search using these search engines. Okay, that's the first thing that you need to do. But in all honesty, no matter how much you use search engines, you really, the best thing for you to do is to look at college and university websites. Of course, you can't go into all 4,900 or whatever that exact number is. You can first use search engines to narrow down your search. And when you get that shorter list, then the thing that you need to do is to actually look at the college and university websites. Look at what they're offering, what kind of programs are available there. Not all mathematics programs are the same. Not all biology programs are the same. Look at maybe you might want to look at the international student page and see what kind of support is available to international students at those universities. Again, you have to look at the department, what kind of opportunities there are there. Where is the college or university located? What is that place like? Is it a big city? Is it a small town? What kind of place is it? And these are the kinds of things that you can only find if you look at the individual college and university websites. So there's really no way out of that. Finding the right college for you really takes a lot of research, but it will pay off in the end. So I highly recommend that you take the time to do that. At the beginning of the presentation, I forgot to mention the timeline. When should you start researching colleges and universities? We usually recommend between 12 to 18 months before you're going to start your studies in the United States. If you start earlier, that's even better. The early bird catches the worm, I think. Is that the saying? I think so. So it's good to start early. There's no harm in that. But between 12 to 18 months should be okay. So, leave yourself plenty of time. Give yourself time to do your research, to look at the websites, to find that university or those universities that you think are the best fit for you. Okay. Another way that you can narrow down your choices is to attend education fairs. There are education fairs all over the world, and I will show you in a few minutes where on the EducationUSA website you can find information about where these education fairs and when they are, where they're taking place and when they are. So that is a great way to meet admissions representatives who maybe you can get to know, and you can ask questions about what the university is like and what specifically they're looking for when they're evaluating international students. Okay, so education fairs are a great way to find out more information. And of course, you can visit your nearest EducationUSA Advising Center. Again, we are the best place to come to, so please come and visit us and ask us questions. And I will talk to you again. I will show you where on the website again you can find out if your country has an EducationUSA Advising Center. Okay, let me go to the next page. Okay, so this is from the EducationUSA website. If you remember, at the beginning of the presentation, I showed you a page. It was in the EducationUSA website. If you clicked on international students, then undergraduate students, it showed you the 5 steps. This is the bottom of that page. And right here, if I can manage with this high-tech system here. Okay, there's my crooked line. If you can read that, I don't know how big it is on your screen, but there's a link at the bottom of that page that says attend a higher education fair. Okay, so if you just click on that, you can find out if there's a higher education fair in your country. And then let me move to the next page. Sorry. Okay, and this is again back to the top of that page, same page, under international students and undergraduate if you go to international students, right here on the right, there is, I kind of circled it. It said there's a link that says find an advising center. If you just click on that, you can choose your country and find out where the EducationUSA Advising Center is. And we're always happy to help students narrow down their list and to give us and to give you information. So please come and visit us. Basically, the EducationUSA website has lots of information, and come and see us too. Okay. Okay, the next step that will help you choose the right college for you, especially if you're looking for some kind of financial assistance, is to identify the types and sources of financial aid. Before I go into that, let me talk about the difference between the word scholarship and financial aid. You'll come across this when you're looking at university websites and things like that. A scholarship is basically, it's a merit-based form of financial assistance. And that means it is based on some kind of academic achievement or a special talent that you may have, like if you're a talented athlete or a talented musician, there are scholarships available for that. And of course, if you are a great student academically. Okay, so a scholarship is based on these kinds of things. Merit is what it's called. Then there are financial aid. There's financial aid as well. Financial aid is scholarships are merit-based, so they're based on some kind of achievement. Financial aid is based on need and the student's need, okay? And it includes loans and work-study programs and things like that. The truth is most international student financial assistance is merit-based, so they come in the form of a scholarship, okay? Let me just scroll down. I'm sorry, I keep having to scroll up and down. Okay. So, the first point of contact for you is to either come to the Education USA Advising Center to ask the Education USA advisor if there are any scholarship programs for citizens of your country. For example, in Cyprus, we have the Fulbright program, which is open to Cypriot citizens. In your country, there may be other similar programs that you can apply for. These kinds of scholarships you can also find them on the Education USA website. If after going to the Find Your Advising Center link, okay, go to the Find Your Advising Center link, and then find the advising center in your country. Under every country, there's a link that includes country-based scholarship programs. Okay, so if you're from Cyprus, you would find information about the advising center in Cyprus, and then click on country-based scholarship programs, and all of the scholarship programs that are open to Cypriot students would be listed there. So that is a wonderful resource, and also your Education USA advisor can give you all of that information as well. If for some reason you don't qualify for a Fulbright scholarship or any of the scholarships that are listed under your advising center or that your advisor tells you about, you can also apply for financial assistance directly from US universities. And this kind of financial assistance is either merit-based or need-based, like I just mentioned. And, a lot of people aren't aware of all the opportunities that are available to them. US universities are very interested in attracting international students to their campus because they want a diverse student population. They don't just want a campus full of students from the same place. They want an international student body. So in many cases, in many universities, there are opportunities for you to apply for scholarships and financial aid. And here are some statistics to prove that. According to a survey that Education USA did in 2010 and 11, more than 1,000 four-year regionally accredited colleges and universities awarded at least $10,000 in need or merit-based funding to international students. So more than 1,000 colleges and universities, that's quite a bit. Or had an annual comprehensive cost below $20,000, or brought their annual comprehensive cost to less than $20,000 with scholarships and financial aid. So as you can see, there are opportunities out there. But as I mentioned earlier, you have to start looking into these things early on. And you should also come in and see us so we can help you. Okay, there are things available out there. There are programs, there are scholarships, financial assistance available to you. You have to do the research. You have to look for them. You have to find where this is. So it's your responsibility to do the research and to come and see the right people. If anybody's interested in hearing more, another Education USA advisor, Erica Lutz, will be giving a presentation on called Exploring Undergraduate Financial Aid Opportunities for International Students. It's at 11 a.m. East Standard Time, which makes it 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and 6 p.m. Cyprus time, if you're on our time zone. And also, there is, on the EducationUSA website, step 3 of the step 5 steps is on financing your studies. And you can go there and find more information about financing your studies. Okay, so we've covered identifying types and sources of financial aid. Now, making a short list of your top choices. So once you go through all of those things, then it comes to, making a short list. How many institutions should you consider? Well, it's really up to you to decide how many you want to apply to. Each, university may have a different application or different requirements. They also have application fees. So you can't, even though you're free to apply to as many as you want, it's not very practical, and your parents may get upset about all the money that you're spending on fees, on application fees. So we usually recommend between 8 to 12, but it's completely up to you. Just make sure that you're not just applying to 1 or 2. Apply to a good variety, and make sure that you have, you're not applying to too few. Okay, and again, at the beginning of the presentation, I also mentioned it's important to apply to a variety of selectivity levels, a variety of institutions, okay, to increase your chances in the end. All right, and how do you find out more about a particular college or university? Like I said, the best thing to do is always to check the college and university websites. My students, they love using search engines. They print out a list of schools from a particular search engine, and then they come and they say, I want to apply to these. And I always ask, well, what kind of school is this? I mean, have you checked the website? How much does it cost? And they can never answer these questions. And the best place to get all of the answers to your questions is the college and university websites. So you really should check each individual website. You can also use local resources. You can come to us. You can also, for my students, when a student comes and says he's interested in a particular school, but he's not sure, I usually try to find someone who's studied there to link them up, so he can ask questions about what it's like to really study there. So, use these kinds of resources as well. Do additional homework, try to find out as much information you can. And if you still have questions about a particular school, send them an email. They're always happy to answer your question. It may take a few days, but they're definitely willing to answer your questions. Okay, you can write directly to U.S. universities and colleges. Okay, standardized tests. Okay, this is another step that will be directly linked to choosing the right college for you. I'm really not going to get into this in too much detail because Syed already talked about it in the session before mine. And even if you missed it, you can still go back and watch it. It'll be on the CollegeWeekLive website to watch. These are the tests that may be required at U.S. universities and colleges. They usually want to see that you're proficient in the English language, so they may require the TOEFL or IELTS. The TOEFL is recognized all over the United States. The IELTS, which is a British exam, is accepted by many, but not all U.S. colleges and universities. And the TOEFL and IELTS are usually valid for only 2 years. You may also be required to take the SAT, which includes 3 sections, the critical reading, writing, and math sections. Not all universities and colleges require this, but usually if you're looking to apply for some kind of scholarship or the more competitive programs, then we recommend that you take this. The SAT subject tests, which you can take in a variety of fields or subjects, are required only by the really top programs, and in most cases are just optional. The SAT and the SAT subject tests are valid for 5 years. The TOEFL and IELTS for 2.
Okay, I can see there are some questions building up, but I'm going to get to them. I'm about to finish my presentation. I will definitely start answering questions very soon. Okay, so if I haven't answered your question or... Oh, hold on one second, sorry. It's not in my notes. Okay, review. Okay, so the most important thing for you to do, the thing that will help you choose the right college or university for you, is to decide what's important to you. The best college or university is the one that's best for you, and only you. You will be there for 2 to 4 years, or even more if you want to do your master's or PhD. So it should meet your requirements. Your mom is not coming with you, your brother's not coming with you, your friend is not coming with you, in most cases at least. So think about you and what you want. Okay? And if I haven't answered your questions, there are more resources on the EducationUSA website. You can go to these links here, which, yeah. There's a financial aid video and well, it's not really a video. It's like this. It's an online thing that you can watch. You can watch 2 different kinds of EducationUSA Connect sessions. One is basically on what I've just been talking about, and the second one is on identifying financial aid. But definitely try to listen to the presentations that are going on today, because I know that there's a lot of useful information in those sessions, and you may find out something that will help you. Okay, so I'm done presenting. Okay, so I see there are a lot of questions on master's programs. Okay, is there a session on graduate studies? There's a session on financing and graduate education in the US. So you can, if you're interested in particularly in that, you can attend that. Okay, Shariful is for masters. What IELTS score is needed? Shariful is asking about the IELTS score that's required for a master's program. It all depends on the program. You have to look at individual programs and see what their requirements are. And that's true of any exam requirement. You know, it depends. Each university has their own requirements, and that's why you need to really look at each individual website. Let's see. Okay, wow, there's a lot of questions on master studies. Okay, okay, there's one from by Abhijit. How to get a scholarship? Well, as I mentioned earlier, let me just go back here to the page. There are many scholarship programs available to international students. You can either get financial assistance directly from the university, and in which case you would have to look at the university website and see what their requirements are, or you can apply for scholarship programs that are open to students in your country. And to find that information, again, you would go to the EducationUSA website. Hold on while I bring that up. Okay, here it is. Okay, so the website is here, educationusa.info. And if you click on international students, here there is a Find Your Advising Center link. And if you go there and click on your country, you can find out if there are scholarship programs for students in your country to study in the United States. So country-based scholarship information. Okay, there are lots of scholarship programs all over the world. You need to look at what's available for your country, and I can't look at that now. Okay, let's see. There are a lot of questions about
whether I can give you a list of universities that offer a certain program. As I mentioned earlier, that's not really the way it works. You really have to do your own research because there are no official rankings. There are no official, I cannot say a particular university is perfect for you. I mean, you're the only one that can decide which university is best for you. You can use search engines to help you find which universities offer your program. Okay, there are lots of graduate search engines as well that are listed on the EducationUSA website that you can go to narrow down your search. So you can find, for example, which universities in the US have an MS program in computer science. You can just with a click of a button, you can find out that information. But that should not be enough when you're choosing your college. You should really think about you have to look at what the requirements are. How much does the university cost? What are you interested in? What do you expect from a university? What are your priorities, as I mentioned at the beginning? What are you looking for and what's important to you? And you really, really have to do that research on your own. I cannot give you a list of universities that you should apply to. That's not the way it works. But as an advisor, I can help you go through the process and narrow down your schools so you can find the schools that are right for you. But I would never, or any advisor we cannot give you that a standard list, because there are no standard lists. Somebody asked me if I'm a teacher or a student. I'm neither. I'm actually an EducationUSA advisor. I work at the Cyprus Fulbright Commission. I am a teacher actually by profession, but I don't teach anymore. Okay, let's see. Okay, there's a question about if my college provides a certain program. Again, I'm not representing a college or a university. I'm representing the Cyprus Fulbright Commission and EducationUSA and EducationUSA Cyprus. So we don't offer any programs. Let's see. Okay, there's another question about a PhD, seeking a PhD. Somebody's looking for a PhD in nanotechnology, material science and engineering, etc. Okay, again, there are no, it says they need the best universities in the US. Well, there are no best universities in the US because they're all great. There are no official ranking lists in the United States. You can find plenty on the internet. I could even go on the internet right now and make up a list myself, but none of them are official, okay? So there really is no best university in the US. There is a university that's probably best for you out there, but you need to make that decision. You need to find which university is best for you. You can find information, again, on the EducationUSA website, which is up here. Instead of going to undergraduate studies, which is here. Okay, that's undergraduate studies. Everybody on here that's interested in graduate studies, you could go to international students and then click on graduate studies. And then you would find lots of information about how to search for schools, what you should be looking at, and a lot of search engines that can help you find the programs, the universities that have PhD programs in nanotechnology. You can do a search on that. But again, at that level, you really have to look at the individual programs, especially at PhD level. You have to look at the individual departments, the individual, professors even, to see what kind of research they're doing. Because not all material science programs are doing research, or they have a focus on whatever you're interested in. So you really need to look at these things yourself. All right, let's see. Okay, there's a question that goes, that's, sorry, I'm tired of talking. Okay, let's see, what is the name here? Okay, I don't see a name here, but it says, I'd love to know whether I should study in the US. I mean, whether it is a right choice for me. That's a great question. Okay, so, well, of course, that's something that you can decide on, but let me talk a little bit about what the advantages of our studying in the US. Of course, the first thing is the quality. Earlier on in the presentation, I mentioned the liberal arts philosophy and the opportunity to get a well-rounded education. You may not know what you want to study now, but once you go to the United States, while you're taking all of these different kinds of courses, you'll be able to really discover where your passion is. So it's a wonderful, flexible opportunity, and it sounds like you're not really sure what you want to do. And the system of education in the U.S. has this flexibility for students that may not be sure, and you can find exactly what you want to study during those first 2 years, and take a lot of different kinds of courses. There's one of the other advantages, of course, is the choice. There are over 4,900 institutions offering, undergraduate programs, so a lot to choose from, a lot of variety concerning cost as well, a lot of financial aid opportunities, and so there are a lot of wonderful opportunities that you would get from studying in the U.S. that you wouldn't get anywhere else. In other places, you just sit back in a huge lecture hall and listen to a professor lecture and tell you what is right. In the US, they don't do that. They help you discover what you think is right. So, if you want, both theoretical and a lot of practical experience as well while you're studying, the US is the best place to go. But you can read about it more on the website, the EducationUSA website, or you could talk it over with your EducationUSA advisor in your country. Okay. Let's see. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Okay, there's a question from Kushal. If I have difficulty in pursuing a course, how do I get some help from outside university or within university? That's a great question too. There's a lot of support in U.S. universities and colleges. There will always be a place that you can go to get help. You could get tutors that will help you through the problems. The professors are very open to helping you. In some countries, it seems like they try to make it hard for the students and they don't want them to succeed. But in the US, they actually want the student to succeed. So they will provide everything that you need to succeed. The professors are very helpful. They have office hours. There are tutors that you can go to or tutorial services that you can benefit from. So there's a lot of support within the university, and you can always talk to, like I just mentioned, you can always talk to the professor and tell them that you're having trouble, and they will usually be very helpful. They want you to succeed, and they will be helpful. Okay, let's see. I am a mechanical engineer. Can I change the branch from computational science, for which I have been admitted, to computer science later? That's a very technical question. I'm not sure how different computational science and computer science is, but if this is a question at the undergraduate level, it's easy to change your major, to change your field of study. At the graduate level, I would recommend you contact the school or the department and ask them if that's a possibility, because it's something more specific, and I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. Oh, master's level, Kushal. Okay. Master's level. Well, I would recommend you contact the university and ask them that. Because at the graduate level, it's a bit, harder to change your subject, but I don't know how close they are. It's not my field, so I think someone that's in the university could help you better with that question. Okay, what are the course fees for 1 year? MTech, can you clarify what that is? MTech? Abhijit? What do you mean by MTech? A technical university? Well, the fees can range in the US, ranging from maybe $10,000, $11,000 per year for community colleges all the way up to, $55,000, $58,000. It depends. This is everything included, though. Everything included. For masters, okay, again, there's not 11,000. That would be for the community college, but it depends on the university. It depends. It depends on the university and the course itself, because in some cases, some courses are slightly more expensive than others. So my recommendation is to look at a particular university just to get an idea and see. But, $20,000 per year and up, all the way up. So, can I choose? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, there's a question from Hui Kwang. Can I choose the number of courses I will take in each semester in my master's degree? Let's say take little courses in the first semester to get used to it. Well, as an international student, you usually have to be full-time. And to be full-time, you have to take a certain number of courses. And you shouldn't fall out of status. There are visa requirements, student visa requirements that you really need to pay attention to. So if your question is, if you're not an American citizen and you're going to be on a student visa, you can't just take one course the first semester. You have to be full-time, usually. Okay, there's another question here. Is the TOEFL point the most important thing? Can I apply to a school? Okay, well, the TOEFL score is not the most important thing. When they're evaluating international students, they look at the entire package. So they look at your high school performance, they look at your standardized test scores, they look at other things, what you're doing outside of school as well, your extracurricular activities, community service that you've been doing, and everything. It's not just one thing over the other. It's the entire package that they're looking at, and to see how you fit into their program or into the campus. So it's not just one thing. If you feel like perhaps one of your scores is not that great, you can take it again. You can take the TOEFL score. You can take the TOEFL test again. It's not the only thing that they're looking at, but you can retake the exam. But don't worry as well. It's the whole package that they're looking at. They're not looking at just one particular thing. And universities have different requirements. One university may have a particular TOEFL requirement, and another one will have another, a lower maybe requirement. So you can find the ones where your TOEFL score is enough. Okay. There's a question about performing arts universities in Canada. No, I'm not very familiar with the performing arts programs in Canada, but there are wonderful universities in the US that offer the performing arts that you can consider. Those kinds of programs may require an audition or some kind of video of yourself performing. So those are some things that may be asked. Okay. There's another question, by Kushal, if I have a lot of certifications regarding extracurricular activities and many software certifications, if I mail them to universities, will they take it positively or do they think that I'm distracted? No, no, no. I mean, extracurricular activities and those kinds of things are all great. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, it's the entire package that they're looking at. They're not just going to look at those certificates. They're going to look at the rest of your application. And I think you mean sending them along with you with the other application requirements, right? You cannot just send them on their own without an application, without submitting an application. That would be one part of your application, and these things are great. They're not just looking at, looking for a person who's just studying all day. They want to see what else you're doing. What are your other activities? What else are you interested in? Where are your passions and things like that? And these are all great, but it's the package. Okay, I think I've Euphilia, sorry about the pronunciation. Your question is, what characteristics are U.S. universities looking for? It's the whole thing, academic and non-academic, all of it, the whole package. You said they don't care too much about scores. Well, it's not necessarily true, but it's not the only thing that they care about. Like I said, if one particular score is not that great, you may be making up for it with other parts of your application. Your personal statement, which is the essay that goes with the application, may be amazing and may impress someone. Or your high school performance may be great, or you have other amazing extra activities that are impressive. So it's the entire package that they're looking at. One thing isn't, I can't. So they're all important. Let me put it that way. They're all important. So they're looking at the whole package. And if one part of your package is not as strong as the others, well, it's all right, because they're looking at everything. Okay, Salotin, I have been looking at fall 2012, especially analytical chemistry programs for PhD programs. What's the deadline for fall 2012? Well, the deadlines can be as early as October, November, and can keep going on. For PhD programs, you really need to look at the programs themselves. They all have different deadlines, and usually around maybe January, but it depends on the program. I've seen programs that are later as well, but you don't want to. I think you should really find the programs and look at what their individual deadlines are, because they can be early. And I don't want to say that you're late, because that's not necessarily true. It depends on the program that you are interested in, and I don't know what that is. So look at the university that you're interested in to find that specific information. Let's see. I think, okay, we've got a few more minutes left. Okay, let's see if we can answer a few more questions. Euphilia is asking, are undergraduate students allowed to work part-time around school? Yeah, you can work on campus. If you're on a student visa, you can work on campus up to 20 hours a week. So the answer is yes. Okay, Hui Kwang is asking what the standard visa officers are looking for in international students. Well, if you look again on the EducationUSA website, there is a section here that I'm circling where it says apply for your student visa, where you can read more about the visa process. And of course, you can look at the U.S. Embassy website for your country, and there will be specific information about it, detailed information about what exactly they're looking for. Okay. And again, before I sign off, because my time is up, let me just tell you about the sessions that are coming up again here. We've got the next session is on the U.S. higher education system. If you're interested in finding out more about the degree programs and the system of education, please stay tuned. The presentation at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is on the TOEFL. Then exploring undergraduate financial aid opportunities, which should be interesting to a lot of you. And after the undergraduate session, Erica Lutz, who's also an EducationUSA advisor, will be talking about financing a graduate education. And I know there are a lot of questions here on graduate studies, and you can ask specific questions about funding there. And then undergraduate essay presentation. The essay is a really important part of the application at many U.S. universities. So, if you have time, definitely watch that as well. That's about it for me. That's it. My time is up. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any other questions, please, definitely get in touch with the Education USA Advising Center in your country, or in any other, actually. All right. Have a nice day.